Eric, can we test to make sure you can hear our voice? Let me text him just to make sure before we get started. Don't forget to mute your computers. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. We're ready to go. Can you see us? All right, Sean, you gotta move it a tiny bit. Right here. All right. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Rachel Solomon. I'm the Director of Student Services for the district, and I'll have Sean introduce himself.
Sean Smith, Director of Buildings and Grounds for Gurnee Schools.
And so tonight we are going to present some information about safety. We did this earlier in the year, and it was an in-person session over at Spalding School, and we had a great turnout. And the feedback from families was to do another event. And so we also wanted to provide the opportunity for families to be able to attend online with all of our busy schedules and with children. So we wanted to offer this opportunity, and we've got this great new equipment. So we wanted to use it and see how it works for families behind the screens as well as those with us here in person. So as you'll notice, we do have the chat room open. So any questions that you have as we go along, please don't hesitate to put them within the chat. Sean and I will be monitoring the chat room for any questions that come through, and we will answer them as they come through. The entire presentation might be really hard for you to see online as it is here on our screen, and those in person can see it directly, but you will have a link within the chat room to be able to access the presentation so you can see it more closely, as well as the handouts that we have here in person. We've also put those online for you to view as well too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for tonight's agenda, some of the things we are going to be talking about is our alignment to our district initiatives. We're going to review our standard response protocol for safety. We'll talk a little bit about our student and staff training. We're going to talk a little bit about our social story and training for students, and some of the next steps that we have as far as safety goes for the school district. So within our strategic values and our strategic plan, these are the 6 areas that we focus on here in Gurnee 56. And the ones that directly are impacted by safety are impact and stewardship, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So for our safety, when we talk about safety for all students, we really do mean all of our students. So this is all of our students from preschool all the way up until 8th grade. These are our nonverbal students, our students on the spectrum and specialized programs. This is our dual language students and any students that speak any types of languages. This particular plan will meet all of those needs for all of our students, so that way everyone truly is impacted and included. Within the district, we also have the portrait of a graduate. I'm sure many of your students are coming home talking about all of the great ideas that we're working on in the classroom. But when we talk about safety, we want to make sure that we can connect it to the portrait of a graduate. So we talk about academic champion and critical and creative thinkers. So when we talk about safety scenarios, we want students to be able to think quickly on their feet and creatively, to also be part of thoughtful problem solvers. If we're in a crisis situation, what do we do? How do we handle this? How do we stay calm? And how do we think critically on the best solution in order to keep ourselves safe? We also want students to be effective communicators. We want them to be able to use their words when they're feeling different emotions and be able to communicate with one another to keep themselves safe, but also to ask the right questions to our staff that are there to be able to support them. So we want them to be collaborating together to be able to make the right choice in a variety of safety situations. So all of our components for the portrait of a graduate are included within our safety programs and part of our instruction every day here in Gurnee 56. So part of our program today is we're going to be talking about I Love You Guys Foundation. And so here are the four founders, or the two founders of I Love You Guys. And so I'm going to read this to you because online you're probably not able to see this and may not be able to see it within the presentation. So for some, it may be very difficult to accept. The right actions at the right time by the right people may not have the right outcome. When what we hoped for didn't happen, some may want to find fault, but there is no fault to be found in the command decisions made given the information and behavior presented. There is no fault to be found in the courage and speed of their response. From our family, there is only respect. The best people did the best of things. The outcome could have been far more grave. We as a family know this and appreciate this. Real life doesn't always have a happy ending. So this is John Michael Keyes and his wife, who are the founders of I Love You Guys Foundation. And so we're going to give you a little bit of background about the two of them and where this came from, and then how this plan affects and impacts all of our entire community, not just our students, but our staff and any community members that are coming into our buildings. So we do have a short video to be able to show you and give you a little bit more information from John Michael Keyes and his experiences from a traumatic event with his daughter through a school shooting.
I was held hostage at Platte Canyon in 2006. It's a high school in Bailey, Colorado. And over the course of the afternoon, she was held hostage. She had sent a text message to both me and my wife. I love you guys. And that was the last text message we got from her.
I don't think anybody would begrudge you spending your time mourning or doing something else or staying out of the public light, never giving another interview about this. Why have you chosen this path?
Well, that's an interesting question. You know, Emily gave us a voice from the classroom, and she also told us what to say. I love you guys, right? If I can use that voice to make a difference, and then make a difference, those opportunities don't come up every day. And that's one of the things we do with the foundation, is we're making a difference.
Our intel tells us that most of these things are over within 5 to 10 minutes.
It's tangible. We approach it with humility, but it's an important thing we're doing. And it's way cool that we are in a position where we can commit to constantly evaluating the volume of programs and providing everything online at no cost. This is what we do.
Over here, checker, you're good.
And it's been a remarkable journey in the aftermath. You saw something unusual today.
We have parent ID and student ID.
Stacy Avila is an independent trainer with the I Love You Guys Foundation. She does about 20, 25 trainings for us a year.
So put your equipment on.
She was the negotiator at Platte Canyon. There's skin in the game. James Engler, he's another instructor with us. Again, our adjuncts often have day jobs, and so we can get a few trainings a year out of them. But he was the responding officer at Arapahoe High School. Carly Posey is our mission director, full-time employee of the foundation. And her son Riken, her daughter Amila, survived Sandy Hook. So we've got folks in the organization who have some skin in the game with this. And it isn't just staff or trainers. Frank DeAngelis, the principal of Columbine High School, is on our board of directors. We're a 501c3, it's a volunteer board. There's a commitment organizationally that we can bring our voice to this conversation and make a difference.
If you don't mind my asking, what is it like working so closely with the police negotiator who spoke to your daughter's killer?
Stacy has been a gift in my wife Ellen and I's life. approach Ellen and I took, and it talks perhaps about an earlier comment. Our brief is private. You aren't going to see that. We never gave a camera visibility into our brief. That's ours. Similarly, our anger was private. Often after one of these events, the family of the victim blames law enforcement. We never did that. If you think about it, our perpetrator at Platte Canyon claimed to have enough explosives to level the building. And yet Stacy was right outside that door, shouting through that door, speaking with Emily, with enough explosives to level the building. And the SWAT team was standing there, right beside her, with enough explosives to level the building. These men and women stood there in an effort to save my daughter. There is a level of courage, commitment, and community about that that hardly ever gets mentioned. We supported the actions of law enforcement. And in 2006, I had no idea what the ramifications of that would be. And the ramifications of that is that 3 years later, in 2009, when we started talking about this, because there was no litigation, because there was clear family support for law enforcement actions, the cops in the room were less skeptical, because they're always skeptical. And so there's a receptive ear from law enforcement, and hey, this common language thing kind of makes sense. And so often law enforcement would introduce the programs to the school. Now, in 2006, I had no idea what I would be doing in 2009, let alone today. But our actions in 2006 allowed us a seat at the table.
You mentioned keeping your grief and your anger private, but you've shared Emily with the world. You shared her today.
We share Emily. Yeah.
Why?
She's part of the fabric of our story. I love you guys. And one of the things we're real committed to is training experience.
Are you ready?
People learn really efficiently if there's an emotional hook.
Read about ready.
And we set an emotional hook early on to enhance the training experience. This is important stuff. Stuff happens at our schools. It happened at my school. And coincidentally, our instructor today is for the morning, Stacy, who is the negotiator there, and our instructor in the afternoon is James, who's also had a direct life experience. Those experiences allow us to say, hey, this is important. It gets folks' attention that, yes, this is important. But you'll notice it wasn't fear-based. We don't do fear-based training. That doesn't work with dogs. It doesn't work with humans. Okay? We'll tell a story, but there's laughter in the room as well. Okay?
You've got humor, you've got laughter.
And we've got attention. We're going to be attentive to this.
All right, so we just saw a little bit of an overview from John Michael Keyes of who his daughter is and the safety incidents that happened at Platte Canyon. Here's an image of Emily Keyes. She was a student at Platte Canyon High School in Colorado, September 27th of 2006. So here's another video, and this is an event that took place in Colorado, from the Columbine shooting all the way to Platte Canyon, to basically talk about the safety, the importance of preserving life, and the impact that both shootings have had on both of the communities, but to celebrate how everyone comes together for such an incident.
in honor of Emily Keyes, Platte Canyon High School student shot and killed 9 years ago today during a hostage crisis. This ride raises money for the I Love You Guys Foundation dedicated to promoting school safety. 7 News reporter Kyle Moran there today as that parade began.
Yeah, they're traveling 45 miles from Columbine High School to Platte Canyon High School, and an exciting day there as many of those bikers started lining up early. However, there were some moments of somber reflection as the bikers remembered students who were the victims of violent school tragedies.
Every so often, a good cause can bring people together, even a large group of bikers.
I'm gonna ride, I'll see you afterwards. Sounds good.
Today, they're riding for Emily Keyes. She was shot and killed in 2006 inside Platte Canyon High School. This parade is for her.
On behalf of the Columbine High School community, we are so fortunate, so honored to have the 10th annual Emily's Parade here. As you heard before, we are all together, we are all united.
At the site of another school shooting, bikers also remember other victims of tragedy.
Emily gave us a voice, but she told us what to say. I love you guys.
Look into the sky for hope.
In our lives, we can't determine what happens to us, but we can determine the response that we have.
As 2,000 bikers ride together, money raised to help schools teach children how to be safe during a crisis.
There's nothing we can do to bring them back, but we can go forward to make the world a better place.
For a cause they all can get behind. Now, I Love You Guys was Emily's last text message to her parents. That foundation is raising money to support school safety.
So we saw a little bit about the foundation and the great things that have been done. I'm going to read this one for you as well too. But the foundation is really, it's led by the survivors, the family members, and the first responders, but also those community members. So it's really about everybody coming together to be able to reunify students and ensure the safety and the preparedness for everyone. And the I Love You Guys Foundation really does serve the lives of the students, the administrators, public safety, families, first responders, through the training that they do for these particular efforts. And so we have actually partnered with many, many community agencies to ensure we're all on the same page to be able to keep our students safe, our community safe, and anyone who enters in and out of our buildings safe. So you're probably wondering, why I Love You Guys? Why did you settle on this one? So we did have some safety committees. We had a group of parents as well as a group of community and staff members. And so we looked at a variety of programs. And within these programs, we had to ask ourselves many questions as to what would be best for Gurney 56. And what we came up with is I Love You Guys. And this was based on, this is a non-fear based training. And so it wasn't scary. We're not having to put students or staff through traumatic events to then figure out what to do and how to do it. We don't want to reenact these events that cause anxiety and pain to them. We also want to make sure that we're empowering staff. We want to make sure that they're making the choice based on what they hear, what they smell, what they see, based on that situational awareness. But the same would be true for our students. We want to be able to give them a voice. And with this particular program, the environment dictates the tactics. So within any type of safety or emergency issue, there is an action that goes with it. And so therefore it helps to give guidance on what to do in order to keep everyone safe. This also gives us all options to be able to say, in this type of a situation, I could do this or I could do that. And so it gives our staff a voice to be able to use that situational awareness to know what to do. Within this program, it's also color-coded, and it allows for visuals to be able to assist everyone, regardless of their language of instruction, the abilities or disabilities. And so those images are universal images that we're using across the entire community, so that way they're familiar with the colors, with the symbols, and know exactly what to do when and if something happens. And this particular program covers all types of crises and hazards, from a tornado to a situation in the environment or in our communities, to something happening nearby, to a water spill in a hallway, to a power outage. And so it gives us a variety of options within this one particular plan. And even better, all the materials are free and they come in a variety of languages. So that way it really allows not just us as schools, but different community agencies to be able to use this plan as well too. And we've also been collaborating with our local school districts, with Woodland School District, as well as Warren Township High School, so that way we're all using the same common language, common images, as well as the same information, which helps our first responders when they're responding, so they know that we're in a secure, and this is what it means. We're in a lockdown, this is what it means. We're in a hold. And so that way they're not confused with the terminology across all of our buildings. Since we are such a small community, we do want to allow for consistency in order to keep everyone safe, and time does matter. So we want to make sure that every moment and every second matters to be able to keep everyone safe. So here's another quote from John Michael Keyes. "We don't use fear-based conversations to make any point. Institutionally, our guidance is that we must conduct drills. Let's make the muscle memory, but we don't need to simulate the event that made that drill necessary." So we talk all the time in our training with our students and with our staff is we want to build muscle memory. The more we practice the drills and practice using the language and the social stories, the more it will stick into our brains, so it'll just become automatic should a safety situation happen. So we just continue to repeat that language and do the drills at all points during the school year to be able to make sure that all students know what to do when an emergency happens. So here's a video that we did use for some of our older learners, so that way they could really understand what is it like, what do we do should an emergency happen. And so this wasn't used with all of our students, but it was used with our older learners because we felt as though they could really connect with these high school age students. Sometimes we found students do respond better to peers of their age when in crisis or emergency like situations. So I'm going to show you another video that kind of gives you the overview of what I Love You Guys is all about.
Why is this stuff important? There are things the adults don't like to talk about, but if things happen at school, I need to have a plan. And I need to know that the adults have a plan. So I'm going to talk about the standard response protocol. It's all about these simple actions. The first action is hold. Stay in your classroom, clear the hallways. The second action is secure. Get inside, lock outside doors. The third action is lockdown. Locks, lights, out of sight. The fourth action is evacuate. A location will be announced. The fifth action is shelter. The hazard and safety strategy will be announced. So let's get started and learn about hold.
Hold in your classroom or area, clear the halls. Hold in your classroom or area, clear the halls.
Something is happening in the halls and the school needs to get it sorted out. So we'll stay in our classroom even if the bell rings.
Try to do classwork, but remind your teacher to lock and close the classroom door.
Won't I be marked tardy for my next class?
Not during a hold.
And if I'm in the cafeteria or the gym?
Depending on what's happening, you might be asked to stay in your area if you aren't in a classroom.
Unlike a lockdown, a hold can be released with a PA announcement.
Students, all clear, the hold is released. All clear, the hold is released.
I'm James. I'm a school resource officer. Kids, get inside, hustle.
Secure, get inside, lock outside doors. Secure, get inside, lock outside doors.
Why are we doing it?
We're doing this because something is happening in the neighborhood near the school and we have to get you guys inside. Could be crimes out there, could be riots, could be a dangerous animal, could be zombies.
James, zombies aren't real.
You don't know that.
Here's what happens. get everyone inside. But inside, you just keep everything normal. Even class changes stay on schedule, except between buildings.
Initially, nobody can come in or go out of the building.
Depending on what's happening, your teacher may ask you to text your parents and tell them not to freak out. School is happening just like normal, and if they show up, they probably won't be let in anyway.
That's right, nothing to see here.
Chill. Secure is just staying inside.
Sometimes it's a pain, like when school gets out or during lunch, but usually you won't notice much.
What about lockdown?
This is serious. Pay attention because something bad is happening in the school.
Oh, things adults don't want to talk about.
First, I'm going to talk about stuff that we do know. Data and research about attacks at schools. Then I'm going to talk about what to do depending on where you are. First of all, 70% of these are over within 5 minutes. 90% are over in 10 minutes.
Heavy.
First, let's look at one thing that they have learned. An attacker has hardly ever gotten to a locked classroom door. Hardly ever.
Where'd you see that?
Get on the web and look at the Sandy Hook Commission report. The FBI has some stuff too.
Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight.
So the teacher will lock and close the door.
Right, then what happens?
I got this. First, we're going to get out of sight of the corridor window.
What else are you going to do?
Then we're going to get low on the floor. I'm going to make sure I can't see out of the corridor window. Then I'm going to take a deep breath and focus. This is an important 5 or 10 minutes. I'm even going to silence my phone or turn it on Do Not Disturb.
Turn off your data and Wi-Fi too. This helps the first responders keep their internet access.
But can I text my parents?
Yes, but not at first. Your teacher will probably have you wait about 5 minutes until it's safe. If it's safe, a few of you at a time can text your parents.
Here's what to text. I'm okay. We're in a lockdown. I'll update you every 5 minutes. I'm going to add this. I love you guys.
Text your parents. Don't text your friends. Don't post on social media. Duh. Here's one thing. A lockdown can be scary, and it's probably going to last a long time. I need you to support each other. Listen to your teacher. What else do you keep in mind?
Don't open the door for anyone.
What if they say it's the police? Like this. Police, open the door.
I don't know if it's really the police or someone trying to fool me, so I'm not going to open the door for anybody or even say anything.
Right. Law enforcement or an administrator will unlock and open the door.
Same thing with an announcement on the PA. You're going to stay here until administrator or police comes and opens the door.
What about the fire alarm?
When we're in a lockdown, we're going to treat a fire alarm a little differently. Unless it's really a fire in your room, we're going to initially stay put. Although I might look at other ways to get outside.
If you're in the hallway, cafeteria, or gym, try to get behind a locked door or try to get out of the building. Remember, 5 minutes, so go quick. Think about other locking doors, like staff bathrooms and some offices.
The student bathrooms are probably a last resort. No locking doors, but at least you can get out of sight. This is a good time to talk about evacuating. Sometimes we just need to leave the building. Depending on what's happening, we might be asked to leave our stuff. Or we may be asked to bring it. If your phone's in your pocket, keep it there.
If you hear lockdown and aren't in a locked classroom, remember self-evacuation is another option.
That means getting out of the building and going to a safe place quickly.
Once you're there, call your parents, tell them you're okay. The school might also give you an emergency number to contact.
What happens when police release a lockdown?
Police or an administrator will open the door and begin the classroom evacuation. Now, don't be surprised if they are a little loud or they keep shouting, "Show me your hands!"
Got it. They're going to be loud and keep my hands empty and visible. Can I bring my stuff?
Probably not. Just what's in your pockets.
They'll probably bring us to a secure assembly area like a cafeteria or a gym before moving us to where our parents can pick us up.
At the assembly area, don't be surprised if an officer searches you. They just want to make sure there's nothing dangerous out there.
Got it. They're going to be loud. They're going to search us.
If you think about it, you're probably going to be stressed, so it's going to feel a little more intense than it really is. They are probably going to be a little stressed. They probably don't know you, but we all have the same goal in mind, to keep you safe.
So what you're saying is cut everyone a little break, and we can actually help reduce their stress and our parents' stress.
Okay, there's one more action.
Let's talk about shelter.
Different schools might do different things, but here are some examples of what might be announced.
Tornado, get to the storm shelter. Earthquake, drop, cover, and hold. Hazmat, seal doors and windows. Tsunami, get to higher ground.
This is important. I was in 4th grade at Sandy Hook Elementary School on December 14, 2012. I got out. My little brother was at Sandy Hook too. He got out, but it was a close call. My older brother and sister were at the middle school. It was a tough day for them too. So I just need to have a plan, have some options.
And you need to know the adults have a plan too. I was the school resource officer at Arapahoe High School in 2013 when the attack happened there.
I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. When you go home today, talk to your parents. Tell them about what you learned today. Why is this stuff...
All right, well, we're going to start with the part of the program and going over with the SRP, Standard Response Protocol, a little more in depth on each one of these. We have a hold, a secure, a lockdown, an evacuate, and a shelter. Each one of these has a different color and a different depiction, and it is the same. One of the things that we did in our school district is we put up all of our posters that all show the exact same thing in all of our buildings. Oops, sorry. So we started with this program and we shared it with our first responders. And the idea behind that was so that we had the ability to share the same language between our fire departments, our police departments, and our sheriff's department, as well as the community. So first responders and the school district all are speaking the same language with this. And then we shared this with the staff. And again, we kept the language the same so that we are all speaking the same thing. We all know what all of these SRPs are for, as well as our first responders. And we trained all of them the same way. We continue our training through this with the language being the same. And then, of course, with our students, we do the same thing with our students. We started training this year, at the start of our school year. Same thing with all of our SRPs. And we've just now started to show it to our parents and expose our parents to it. Last year we started with this. And then this September, we had a parents' meeting, and we were able to share this presentation with them as well. And this is our second time going through this. So if you have questions, please put it in the text. So let's go over these a little more in depth. We have a hold, which is purple with a door. We have blue, which is secure with two hands. We have red with a lock for lockdown. We have green with some people there for evacuate. And we have orange for shelter. That means shelter in place. Now, as we go through these 5 different secures, 5 different SRPs, this will be communicated over the intercom. An action and a directive will be given. And then this is also with a color code, so it's easy to identify. So let's get deep into each one of these. We're going to start with hold. When this is announced over the intercom, it's going to be announced several times, so that everybody can hear this well. We're going to keep the hallways clear and bring everybody into the classrooms. Everybody's going to remain in the classrooms, and teachers are going to take attendance and record the time. That's important for us in the future. We're going to close the doors of the classrooms and keep them locked, but the doors can be open for students to come in and out. And this is one of the great parts of this hold is classroom instruction can continue. This doesn't stop, so we can have kids coming in and out, and we can continue instruction through this process. We don't change classes because as a hold, we're keeping our students in our classroom, and if our PE or students are outside, they remain outside. The hold is for hallways or something within the school. And this can be lifted with an all-clear announcement through the intercom. So here are a couple of reasons why we might go into a hold. We might have a medical emergency in a hallway, and we might need to get EMS and police and fire through there, and we want to keep our hallways clear. This is a good opportunity to keep our students and our staff in the classroom so that we can get EMS and emergency services through the hallways. We might have a hazmat spill somewhere in the building, or we might have an unsafe condition in the hall, maybe broken glass, maybe some ceiling tile may have fallen, or a maintenance issue. Somewhere along the lines, we're keeping people and our students or staff out of the hallways so that they're safe. So if we move into our next standard response protocol, it is a secure. Now we've got a blue emblem with two hands on it, and this means that all outside classes have to come inside the school. We now make sure all of our exterior doors are closed and locked. Students will remain in our classrooms. Teachers will again take attendance and record the time. Classroom instruction can continue. Again, we're going to continue this process. We're not stopping school. We're just bringing everybody in the school and having a secure hold at this point. No visitors are in and out of the building. At this point, we don't allow anybody in or out, including deliveries. And a secure response can change to a lockdown. So we may go into a secure SRP for a reason, for something outside. That means the hazard is again outside of the school, and that could be elevated to a lockdown. We increase our situational awareness, and again, this can be lifted by an all clear over the announcement. So a couple of reasons why we might go into a secure: we could have a dangerous animal outside of the building, we could have a gas leak, fire in the area, a suspicious person, riots or protests nearby, a bank robbery, a domestic dispute, or a high-speed chase, to name a few. And of course, we'll be working closely with law enforcement with this. Our next standard response protocol is lockdown, and it's locks, lights, out of sight. And the very first thing we do is we make sure our classroom doors are locked, we turn off our lights, and we get out of sight. And again, our teachers take attendance and note the time. Again, this is important for us in the future. We sweep the hallways, students and staff, we bring them inside our classrooms so that everybody is in a secure location. We stay in the classrooms unless you see or smell fire. We'll talk a little bit about this down later when we get to the evacuation point. If you can't see the corridor window, nobody can see you, and that is a safe place to be. We want you to silence your phone, sit on the floor, and be as low as possible to the ground, and be as quiet as possible. We're not allowing anybody in the classrooms. Only police and admin will unlock and open the classroom doors. So as you heard in the video, we don't allow anybody to come in, whether they're knocking or tell us that they are the police. The police all have access to all of our buildings. A lockdown cannot end with an all clear over the intercom. Only police or admin will open up those doors and allow them out and take you to another secure location. So we don't allow anybody in through a locked classroom door. They will only be opened by police and admin. So some of the reasons why we might go into a lockdown is a weapon might be in the building, a person with a weapon in the school, a person with a weapon outside, possibly a hostage situation inside or near our schools, and a bomb threat with a credible plan to harm students and staff. And again, we'll be working closely with law enforcement when we're in these SRPs. So continuing with our lockdown, a locked door is a proven time barrier. 70% of these are over in 5 minutes. 90% of these incidents are over in 10 minutes. And again, one of the things that we ask our staff to do is take attendance. So we get into our next standard response protocol, which is evacuation. Police will come into the classrooms. Again, we talked about this, that they do have access to all of our buildings, keys. They will open up those doors. They may be loud, they may be in full tactical gear, and they may have large weapons, and that is their protection. Students and staff will need to be removed from those classrooms and taken to another safe location, possibly removed from the district grounds. All hands will be visible. They'll be asking them to be in single file when evacuating. Cell phones should be in their pockets. Personal belongings may remain in the classrooms if they ask you to take them. You'll be able to take them, but we do ask that our staff take their driver's license and car keys at that time. So some possible threats for evacuation is, of course, a fire alarm, smoke, possible gas leak inside the building, person with a weapon nearby, flood, hazmat spill, structural danger, bomb threat, and power outage or systems failures may require us to evacuate. When we do that, we're going to listen for directions. Again, take attendance and note the time. Students and staff will bring their cell phones if possible. Teachers, again, will bring their license and car keys. Hands will be visible at all times, and we'll be requiring them to be in a single file line. So if we are in a lockdown and our staff feel that it's safer for them to evacuate, we encourage them to make those decisions. But with that decision, we also have a couple of phone numbers here that gives them the ability to let us know where they have decided to go to. This phone number, 1-844-461-6529, will be able to be called and left a voicemail and text, and they will be able to be responded to by police and fire. We'll come get them and take them to a safe location. So once they leave our building, they can make this phone call and get to a safe area, and we will come get them. Lastly, shelter is our next standard response protocol. Of course, tornado and severe weather, extreme hail, heat or cold exposures, earthquake, and hazmat might require us to take shelter. Again, when we're doing this, we're going to use a safety strategy to move to a designated shelter. Depending on where that hazard is, it could be a tornado. We practice this with our districts and all of our schools. We're going to, again, take attendance and note the time. It's important for reunification that we know where everybody is, and that's the purpose of the attendance. We're going to remain calm as possible and listen for directions, stay in place, and this is something that we'll be able to hear over the announcement system. You may hear an all clear once this is done.
Sean, I'm going to pause you right there. We do have a question that is online, and I want to make sure that we respond to the question. So what the question asks is, would it be possible for parents to participate in drills? Perhaps the school can host a meeting where parents would be in a separate room and then participate when the drill begins. This would be a great way for those interested to learn exactly what goes on. So I would say in response to this question, when we practice our drills, it's very similar to maybe how parents might have practiced drills once upon a time when we were all in school. So for our tornado drills, we're doing some of those same actions. For our fire drills, we're doing some of those same actions. I think it's really important that we do more education with our students and our staff because things haven't changed as far as those practices go for parents. As far as the specific information for lockdowns, we're going through a lot of that information here. As parents, if you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your building administrators, and they can help to answer those questions for you. We really do try and keep a lot of our practices within our buildings. And again, we're building that muscle memory for our children. And you're more than welcome to have those conversations with your children when they're coming home. A lot of the information is shared with parents, so every single year we do have to communicate with families as far as when our lockdown drills are. So then you can be prepared to have those conversations. Hey, how did your drill go today? I know you had this lockdown drill at school today. How did it go? Tell me some things that you use to prepare to be able to keep yourself safe. But you can use that as a conversation piece with your children as well. But we really do like to keep those practices within our buildings. And a lot of those practices are very similar to those that we experienced when we were children growing up. Thank you very much for the question. And if there's any additional questions, please make sure you continue to put them in the chat and we'll do the best that we can to answer them. Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Thank you. Great question. So let's move to what a solid core door is. And these are on all of our classrooms. All of our rooms in all of our buildings. These are commercial grade. They're steel frame jams. They are all 90-minute fire protections. We ask that we don't put any accelerants or paper on the doors because it gives us our true 90 minutes of protection. They do have industrial strength commercial grade locks. And what that really means is when a lock is in a locked position, it collapses if it's damaged, so it stays in a locked position, which gives us our proven time barrier. And as you remember, we want that time for us so that it gets our good guys into the buildings as fast as possible. So a quick review, we empower our staff and our students to be able to know all of this and talk about it freely, of course, with the parents and with our teachers. Again, we're going to go over the hold, the secure, the lockdown, the evacuate, and the shelter, all color-coded with depictions. Very easy to identify, and they are in posters amongst and in all of our facilities. We ask everybody to remain calm and lead by example. We continue to practice our drills and have conversations about this to build familiarity with it and confidence as we go through each one of these SRPs. And then staff, we continue to review with them and hone these practices in. So I'm going to turn this over to Rachel for continued training. This is something that we continue to evolve in and with. Training never stops in these types of situations. We're always evolving and growing and working with our local police and fire. So I'll turn that over to Rachel to finish that.
Thank you, Sean. So as far as our continued training, we do quite a bit of training on a monthly basis with all of our administrative teams. So our assistant principals, as well as all of our directors. And so we talk about a variety of situations. We do a little turn and talk to be able to problem solve and figure out how to navigate through these scenarios. And then we come back together as an entire team. So that way everyone can hear the problem solving and the critical thinking that goes through all of our minds, because we all have different backgrounds and we want to bring all of our information back together. And so we do that also to build that muscle memory that we talked about in the beginning, because we want to look at a variety of scenarios, but also see, how would I respond to this? How would I communicate this out to families? How do I communicate this out to our staff? And what are those reactions in that moment, in that emergency and crisis-like situation? We also do something called What If Wednesdays. So we send scenarios out to staff every Wednesday. Again, different types of scenarios. What would you do? Choice A, B, C, D. And then on Fridays, we do fact-finding Fridays and send that out to staff. So that way they're able to see what is the correct answer. And we've also built a little bit of a competition across all of our buildings to see, where are the buildings responding? So that way staff across the district are able to see, is my answer similar to my colleagues in my building across the district? But again, we want to build that muscle memory and really expose staff to different types of scenarios and how would you respond. So we'll continue with both of those. Sean and I also attend quarterly meetings with our Regional Office of Education, who really oversee all of Lake County. And we talk about a variety of safety tactics, different devices that are coming in, and really how do we partner, not just with the Gurnee PD, but also with the Lake County Sheriff's Department. We are very lucky in Gurnee, where we have 2 different police departments and fire departments that we're collaborating with. And we really want to make sure that we're continually communicating together to ensure we're on the same page, but also working together as a community. Another initiative that's come in recently is called the LC Smart Enrollment. And so what that does is we as a district will be participating in this larger collaborative. So should there be an emergency in any of our Lake County school districts, we would then be able to provide resources to them to be able to support a safety and crisis-like scenario. Just like if we were to have something here in Gurnee, other communities would come here to be able to support us. And so that's what the LC Smart initiative is, and that is across the entire Lake County with a variety of our schools. And as you know, Lake County is quite large, and so we want to be able to really share those resources should an emergency and crisis happen. And our final continued training that's on here is attending safety conferences with first responders. So Sean and I have attended quite a few different safety trainings to really get a good big picture on ways that school districts are using their safety response protocols, how they're doing their reunification plans, what that looks like, because there's so many details that go into it, such as the very first video that we showed you. We want to make sure that when and if we need to reunify to another location, it's far enough away from our district, should there be a safety issue. But we want to make sure that we're pairing the students up with the correct adult. And so we're going through all of those forms, and we are actually walking through those scenarios to see what is it like going through this, and have we really done our research, and as far as having our different collection sites, and do we have all of our students' information, and do we know who they're paired up with, and is this mom and dad, and are they okay to go home with mom and dad? And having a variety of scenarios through these safety conferences has really helped us to better create a reunification plan for our district. And as we attend these conferences, we're also attending with the Lake County Sheriff's Department, as well as our Gurnee Police Department and the local fire department as well too. So we're all receiving this type of training as we create our reunification plan and really make it better to ensure that everyone is safe. So one of the other pieces that I talked about earlier is one of the reasons why we chose I Love You Guys was because of the pictures and the images as well as the color coding. And so in Gurnee, we do have many children where English is not their first language. We also have children that really do require something called a social story. And social stories are great really for all types of students, but they're especially important for those that maybe have diagnoses of autism or anxiety. And so it's really developmentally appropriate for our younger kiddos. We do have our preschool students, and so this is also very helpful for that. But it does allow for universal pictures for our students to be able to see and understand. So regardless of what language you speak or don't speak, because some of our children are nonverbal, we want to make sure that they're prepared with a plan should we have a safety incident. And so this does explain in very simple language with images as well, and it's sequential and it's step by step. And in 2 of our buildings, we do have special education programs as we partner with our CEDAL Special Ed Cooperative. And so many of those children might be nonverbal and might have assistive technology devices. So we want to make sure that they have the information to be able to make a decision, but their children also know how to respond. So we teach the different steps with them through the social story. Many students also like a predictable schedule. Staff like a predictable schedule, and we as humans like a predictable schedule. So this helps our students when there's changes, because we know sometimes there are changes in the schedule and emergencies happen. And then finally, this is very explicit instruction for a variety of situations, and so we just want to be able to prepare our students for this. This particular social story that I'm going to show you was also used for our littlest learners as well as those with exceptionalities to be able to help them understand the standard response protocol and the training that we did with all students. So everyone had an opportunity to be able to have that education. So a social story about safety. I love you guys. Staying safe at school in an emergency with the SRP. I can be safe. I am smart. I can listen. I can follow directions. My school cares about me. The adults will keep me safe. What is a safety plan? At my school, we have a plan to help everyone stay safe. This plan is called the Standard Response Protocol, or the SRP. The SRP tells us what to do in different kinds of emergencies. I might hear, hold in your classroom. This means I stay where I am. I stay calm and quiet. Teachers will help me. It's okay. Sometimes help is needed in the hallway. I will stay in the classroom with my teachers until I hear all clear on the loudspeaker. So as you can see from our social story, there's very little words that are on here, but there are images that are associated with it. So that way it helps our students with that consistent language that they're using in the classroom for instruction as well. And these are stories that could be given with students in the morning, in the afternoon, the day before. And we've shared these stories with the particular classroom teachers, and they could be shared with families at home for those that are really struggling with how to handle some of these emergency responses. But our biggest thing is we wanted to make sure that all students have a plan and understand what to do in any safety or emergency situation. This plan helps to support all students, regardless of your language of instruction or language that you are brought up with, your abilities and your disabilities. I love you guys as able to provide all of that for everyone. So I'd like to close with one final video regarding I Love You Guys Foundation.
On September 27, 2006, a 53-year-old man filled with truly terrible and evil motivations entered Platte Canyon High School. He held 7 young, innocent girls hostage. One of those girls was Emily Keys.
Today we pause to honor the memory of Emily Keys and the life-changing work that has come out of her tragic death.
This homegrown program in honor of Emily is changing and keeping lives safe throughout the country, and we decided as a committee that we wanted to honor them with a resolution today.
The I Love You Guys Foundation is committed to school and community safety and family reunification following crisis. Their programs are the result of extensive collaboration with leaders across the school safety space, including first responders, school districts, and safety professionals.
John Michael and Ellen do all of this and have created so much change through a small, low-dollar nonprofit. And they have toiled tirelessly for over a decade to make the world safer for your kids and mine. Members, I'm proud to sponsor this resolution to John Michael and Ellen Keys and the inspiring work of the I Love You Guys Foundation.
Their reach has touched 18 million students, 800,000 educators, and 50,000 law enforcement officials in the United States and the world.
But it's important that we understand that love does matter. Kindness does matter. Because when you put those things together, you have a greater sense of humanity. So my closing remarks to the Keys. Your daughter is not here to tell her story, but you are. Your foundation tells her story. Every interaction, every presentation, all the outreach that you've done, you're telling Emily's story. Now I want you to know that you did not bury your daughter, you planted her. And the seed that you planted is now a significant element as it relates to school safety.
With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 4 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 002 is passed.
So Sean and I actually had the opportunity to meet John Michael Keys. So this is a picture of the two of us at Clear Armor with John Michael Keys in the center. And I'm going to read the following quote. I don't look at this world as a scary place, but it's an uncertain place. Giving folks some knowledge about what to do when something is uncertain, I think is empowering. And this is exactly why we chose I Love You Guys. We want to empower our staff and our students when something is uncertain to be able to make that choice in order to keep themselves and our students safe. So some things that are going to be coming up, as we talked about earlier, there's a big safety conference that Sean and I will be attending to continue to gather additional information to be able to make our plans the most robust plans to be able to keep everyone safe. And then we will be having a simulated reunification district-wide training coming up in the summer, again, to make our plans the most robust that they can, using all of our community resources to work together for the safety of our community. We wanted to thank everyone for joining us in person tonight, as well as online. There will be additional parent information sessions that will be held throughout this school year as well as through next school year. And please watch out for the district Viking voice communication because there'll be additional updates and information coming soon. For our stakeholders, for the community, parents, and our staff, our next meeting will be held on March 5th for those that are part of that group, and it will be held at our district office with, again, different updates to our safety plan. So again, thank you again for joining us tonight in person as well as at home. We really do love the partnership together, and we hope that that continues as we work together for safety for all of us. So thank you again. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Sean or I or your building administrators. Thank you.